Hello, my creepy crawlies, and welcome to another edition of Ice Cream Queens. And we have a fun and exciting show for you this evening. First of all, let me put on my glasses. Because I want to look very school and educational and intelligent. Yeah, that didn't work. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in my co-host. First of all, the wicked Magda. Wicked. And I
Hello.
love that wicked laugh. And hello, how are you doing? And of course, the glorious Cat. How are
Hi,
you?
I'm good. How are you guys tonight?
Doing very,
Lovely.
very well. Lauren is at Texas Frightmare and is not going to be joining us this evening, or if she has the opportunity, she might jump in later, but I'm more or less anticipating her to go home and just crash, which is totally acceptable following an event like that.
Mm.
So have you guys done anything fun this weekend?
Mm.
That's a loaded question right there.
It is. It really, with this group, very much so.
Depends on what you describe as fun. I mean,
Well, mostly this weekend has been sewing. It's, me, I'm sewing, or I'm teaching, and I'm sewing. So that's it, really, sewing. I'll have something interesting to share very soon.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Now, it is officially spooky season. And that means, I know, we're all excited. We're like,
yes, it's about time. I'm ready.
It's that time of the year that I can start trying to redecorate my house a little bit. And so I have been hitting, I've hit at home and Michael's and, Walgreens.
Really?
Look at that. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that.
Cute. So I know it's kind of batty. Has anybody been? I do too. Has anybody been out?
I have.
Home decorating?
Oh, everywhere. And we don't have everything in stock at all the stores yet, which has been a shame. There's just like a backup on freight or something this year. But I mean, Target has had nothing but just candy. Candy's been the only thing I've seen.
I have seen mostly candy as well.
Yeah.
Michael's
waiting for all the spooky things to. I love it when people say, I can't wait to decorate for Halloween. And I think to myself, no, if it goes up in my house, it's there year round, and that's the end of it. If I like it, it's staying up.
I mean, I can look behind you. Yes. And what people don't realize is these are not like necessarily hand created sets. These are this is our house. This is what this looks like. So this was the best corner that we could find that kind of showed our personality. But yes, this is things. The creepy little Halloween knickknacks stay out.
That's lovely.
I know, isn't that adorable?
But they stay out
all year long, and I am in the process of trying to redecorate everything in vintage Halloween. And it's like I want everything, the walls, everything. I want my grands to walk in and just say, "Give me a trick-or-treat bucket. I want candy." So I want to be that person. I want to be that grandmother. So have you made any purchases as of yet?
Very few. I think I went into Home Depot, and I really, really, really wanted one of those 12-foot tall skeletons. And they had a new one this year. I called one day, and the next day I went in, and they were all gone, every single one of them. And they even had the display. I left my name, I left my phone number. I mean, I was adamant, like, I'll pay you money for it. Just, when you're ready to release that display, I'll take it away for it. I'll bring it with the truck. I'll load it up. But nope, they wouldn't sell it to me. I tried. This is 2 years in a row I've tried.
If you have not been to Michael's is geared to the feminine palette of Halloween this year. And everything is like pastel goth. It's like pinks and it's beautiful. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
And my daughter would be ecstatic. That's her vibe, is pastel goth. She likes creepy and cute. So
she would have a field day. And it's not just creepy and cute, it's creepy and very beautiful. Like this was, I'm trying to convince the husband that I need, or the cabana boy, that I need a black Christmas tree that I can go ahead and set up now. and just keep
I
up.
have
And
one.
I will switch it out to, you have one?
I have a black Christmas tree with a flame-inspired ornaments, and my tree topper is actually a little red-haired, bat-winged flame demon thing. So
It's you.
We need a tour. We need a home tour, Magda.
We do.
When I put my Christmas tree up, I'll make sure that I can get video of it so you can see it in all its lit up glory.
Now, this week, our topic is all about being schooled in horror, and school and horror and all of the creepy things that go into this. And when we went into the process of trying to select our guests, that was actually kind of challenging, because you wanted to find guests that would represent the educational system and also horror. And I think that we did a really, really good job of picking some awesome guests. The first one I want to bring in is Darrell Hugueley, who is also known as it says Black Dog there, but he is the pirate teacher. And yes. And so Darrell, please introduce yourself and give us the quick 30-second bio of who you are.
30 seconds. That's kind of limiting, but all right.
Okay, 1 minute.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here. It's a great honor, great pleasure to be with you ladies and gentlemen tonight. I am Darrell Hugueley. I have been a teacher in Memphis City schools which became Shelby County schools, for 15 and a half years. Then I went to Logan, West Virginia, and was a 7th grade middle school teacher there for 5.5 years. Now I live outside Cincinnati, Ohio. I have 2 grown children. My son Kyle lives in Kansas City, just got married last year. They have 2 dogs and a cat, and my daughter Grace lives there in Memphis. So, hey Grace, she's in the 901 with her partner Taylor, and they have a big old goober of a dog named Mickey. And I've been married 38 years. I have a Jack Russell Terrier named Sky. She's a little old lady, and she may be down here in a minute actually to tell me it's time to take care of business. Hobbies and interests. I ran into the pirates in Memphis. I was looking for a classic novel to teach my 7th graders, and I found in an abandoned closet, I found a classroom set of Treasure Island. And so just the greatest example of synchronicity ever, I started meeting these pirates, and I communicated with them. They let me join the pirate group with them, and I began my pirate cosplaying journey and became Black Dog the Pirate. So, but then my handle on the Instagram and everything is the Pirate Teacher. So and my interests are everything from cigars and scotch. I do a little crafting with my cigar bands. I make coasters out of them.
Ooh.
And
Oh, wow.
I'm self-taught. I'm learning how to paint. I'm teaching myself how to paint. I'm the former eccentric front man for a band called the Dilettantes with my daughter and an Italian chef. And so I play a little guitar. I've taught myself guitar. And so that's about all you need to know about me, I guess.
You're a dog of all trades, then.
I was about to say, it sounds like you've already lived many lives and
yes, I'm a
have all kinds of skills.
I think that is pretty much the capacity that you have to function in, not only to be a teacher, but just to live in today's society. You have to be able to do and function as everything. So, but welcome.
Thank you.
And
glad to be here. Yeah.
And I actually met Black Dog or Darrell through the pirate community, and we were pirating together for a little bit of time before you moved, but that's how we met.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years there. We had went to a lot of pirate gigs together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And what happens at pirate events stays at pirate events. There's a lot of rum that flows at those events, as you can imagine.
I'll drink to that.
Yes. So my next guest is actually an icon through the Memphis area. And he is he's a well-known actor. He's a well-known comedian, but I think that I know him best as Professor Ghoul. And I would like to bring in Michael Degman. Degman? Please pronounce your last name. Okay, I said it correct. Degman, just like it looks.
Yeah, it's that simple. Imagine that. Hey, everybody. How we doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right. Doing okay. So happy to be in the start of the spooky season.
Oh my God, aren't we all? This is our time of year.
Yes, it is.
I'm ready to stop being scared and start being spooky.
I'm just ready to stop being hot.
Mostly that.
Humidity. Yeah, ready for some of that to go down.
So, Michael, give us a quick 1-minute overview. Is that even possible of who you are and how you came to be here?
I don't know if I can stretch that long, but I'll see. I am a comic and improviser, and my day job is I'm a TV producer with the local PBS affiliate in Memphis, WKNO, now in its 65th year of broadcasting to the Mid-South. And I was very fortunate that for a couple of years, they let me and my co-creator, Bard Cole, put together a very special show called Professor Ghoul's Horror School, where we hosted great and not so great horror movies every Friday night.
So I have to ask, out of all of the movies that you have watched and you have hosted, what is your favorite?
Okay, so of the movies that we presented, I'm gonna say it's the Vincent Price classic Theater of Blood, where Vincent Price, who very famously never was in any Shakespeare adaptation on film. In Theater of Blood, he plays a Shakespearean actor who is considered the worst Shakespearean actor in all of London. And at a association of theatrical critics meetings, they award him as the worst Shakespearean actor, and then he seemingly kills himself, and then the critics start turning up dead based on the deaths in the plays they reviewed him in. It's Vincent Price and Diana Rigg, and it is a blast. It is campy, great, post Abominable Dr. Phibes Price fun.
Lovely.
So we actually had to make up a critic of our show. For that episode. We brought on real life Memphis film reviewer John Bifus. He was a real doll, and he came on. And then Chris Davis, who was doing theater reviews at the time, he also guested on that episode. And then we made up a character named Gene Willingham, who was portrayed by our constant co-star, or near constant co-star, Justin Willingham. And one of Justin's trademarks on our episodes was we always killed him.
Now I have
also
to say,
Amy Levere was on that episode, so that was Amy Levere did a duet.
Upright bass player.
Yeah, she sang a song with Shotzi on that episode.
How awesome!
Finale, so.
Okay, so I have to. So before the show, we were talking. We were basically doing 7 shades of how, or 7 degrees of how we all know each other. And one of the things that I purposely avoided mentioning, and my youngest daughter was the biggest Professor Ghoul fan, and I don't know if you know this or not. Okay.
It was a real delight when we would get the pictures and letters. And so we could send things back, because that was really meaningful to us. We were working a lot of long hours to put that show together, and just to know that, there were people who took real delight in what we were doing was truly inspiring to us.
So her first day of 3rd grade, for those who might not be aware of this, Aria goes to school. And they're like, what did you do over the summer? And so she starts explaining that she was watching Professor Ghoul, and that she had to draw a picture. Wait.
Oh, you have the picture.
Nice.
She drew Shotzi, and we ended up sending a picture of this to the studio, in which she got a response back from Professor Ghoul. By the way, she still has everything. She still sleeps in the t-shirt. The button is on her backpack. Oh, it's hilarious. So yes, and awesome. We do have a lot of Professor Ghoul's episodes that are on our DVR. It's like I can't switch out my DVR because I don't know how to get them off. I'm like, it is very, very antiquated, but I cannot run the risk of losing these, because I know if we lose them, they're probably just gone.
Probably so, yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to take a moment. And so this is a new segment of our show that we introduced a couple of weeks ago. And to set our moods, we're asking you to dim your lights, sit back, have a drink, close your eyes, relax, and let's listen to the musings of Magda as she recites some quotes, poetry, or whatever in association with our topic.
In theory, a school is a place for learning, a place where we should feel safe, surrounded by our peers, guided by our wise teachers. But schools, like all other great institutions, have their own unique traditions and rituals. There are particular dress practices to be followed, either by school code or peer pressure. Scheduled classes as strict as a monk's horarium, and even denoted by bells. Peculiar hierarchies of students and teachers appear to have little to do with age or merit. When these hollowed halls are haunted, stalked by killers, populated by villainous teachers and horrors lurking in the spaces we think we know, it becomes a symbol of innocence twisted. So many young, impressionable minds, full of volatile emotions and confusing inner worlds, just ripe for the reaping. Now, take your seats. Class is in session, and something is hiding just beneath the surface of the school of horror.
I love that. It looked like a
I
Calvin
love it.
Klein commercial. Like I was waiting for like a perfume.
It was very popular.
Like 50 Shades of Death or something to spawn out of that.
We ran an episode about absinthe, and Magda did this for us. And it was the first time that she had ever done one of the readings and quotes for us. And we got so many comments, and so many people were just like, please, please, please have her do that every episode. Which, I mean, if you, it was gorgeous.
I'll absolutely do my best. Though some subjects do lend better to the more sultry side than school. So
I don't know. That
one was good. It was.
So as all of okay, that was amazing. Thank you, Toy Robot.
Thank you.
So I want to use that as a moment to say, hey, this is a live stream, and we are streamed across multiple platforms. And no matter what version you're watching us on, if you want to participate in the show, please, 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 please drop us a comment. We will try to get to as many of them as possible. We can't always get to all of them, but we will definitely try to answer as many as possible. And the easiest way to drop a line and to participate is through the audience participation question. Blah, 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 blah. That's a mouthful. Participation question. Which we have one. There it is. What is the scariest school incident you have ever been involved in? Whether it is yourself, your child, or your sibling. Please just leave the comments. Just leave us a comment and we will read throughout the show because we want to hear this. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start with Black Dog. We're going to start with you. What is the scariest? You are a full-time teacher, so you've probably seen some scary shit things.
All my days are filled with horror. Yes, I taught 7th graders, and so yes, they're all filled with horror.
Terrible.
Terrifying.
The smells alone are just terrifying. So I was thinking about this for the show, and when I was in the 8th grade, not quite in high school, I saw a girl freak out on drugs and right in the middle of class. Her name was Beth. I remember her name was Beth, but she was the girl who was like into all the bad stuff. You know, she was dating all the bad guys, and she was running around just crazy. And we all kind of looked around, and her head was kind of tilted back, and she was off in another plane of existence, and she started kind of freaking out. They had to pull her out of class. But that's the weirdest thing that happened to me personally. And then just to tie into to my daughter, I remember when I was in the second grade, a girl right behind me had a seizure. She had an epileptic seizure and just fell completely out on the floor. We heard her head hit the floor was what everybody went like that. And then so for me then was when my daughter, who has epilepsy, she had a seizure her 11th junior year in high school, which eventually she ended up her first year of senior year. She had a 2-part brain surgery to correct epilepsy. So that was all pretty horrifying, but so she's a warrior though. She's an epilepsy warrior, and she is a spokesperson and an advocate. She gives talks all over the city to inform people about epilepsy and what that do if that happens, if you're witness someone having a seizure. So she's just an advocate. So she's my hero. But but those are pretty scary things.
I think a lot of times it is the real life things that happen to us that catch us off guard that we don't know how to deal with that frighten us the most. Because I do recall being in school and having a teacher who had an epileptic seizure, and nobody knew what was going on. I mean, we were probably 6th, 7th grade, so no one knew what was going on. And it was a very frightening experience. And of course, he was out for a while afterwards. It wasn't something where he was there and then recovered very quickly. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know much about the condition, but he was out for a little while. And of course, all of the stories that were created around what happened to him and stuff. But it was very frightening for a child to watch.
Sounds like you could do a show. Yeah. So she'd be a great person to have talk about it. But I'm epileptic too, but I've been seizure free for 20 years. So.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Michael, you got anything to follow that up with? Sorry. We're gonna put you on the hot seat.
I mean, there's the personal anxiety and terror of not having your homework done, but aside from that, it all feels this feels very quaint to mention now, but I remember pre-Columbine, I feel like in high school there might have been a bomb threat and everybody had to go out to the varsity gym, away from the building, away from one of the buildings while it got swept. But it was, whatever, you stood outside. It was gray and cloudy. I can't even imagine. School today seems so terrifying to me. What kids have to learn and just what is just taken as a given is almost mind-blowing. You're going to have an active shooter drill. Okay. I mean, I'm sure some of you can relate, having gone to school right as the Cold War ended. We never had to go hide under desks because there were going to be bombs going off. But just the current situation, it just seems really, really scary to me. Just all the things that are just a given, you're going to have to be prepared because, the plague might spread around today. It's wild. So yeah, my quaint little somebody called in and said they planted a bomb in a locker. I think that's all I had to deal with. I feel very, very blessed, I guess.
So Mr. Fish or Fishhead says, "Hey all, good to see familiar faces."
Hey Fish.
This is Jeremiah Fish, Mr. Fish Patton, in case anybody knows him or doesn't recognize him. But no, I totally agree. I recall doing tornado drills when I was in high school. There was the one incident where I have actually been locked in a school and locked in a church at 2 different occasions. And it's both very, just being somewhere after hours. I'm sorry?
As punishment, or
was that a whoopsie?
No. Okay, so this is
school, Missy.
This is going to be one of those weird little stories. So I used to be a church librarian, and at one point, I know this lends to church librarian, doesn't it? And at one point, we were doing a sewing class in the back of the library, and me and one of the ladies involved got talking and kind of stayed there after hours, and they had turned on the alarms. We broke out of the building, set off the alarms. But I've had a very similar incident at school as well, where I got locked in to a room, and we were supposed to be there, but no one realized that we were still there. It was like me and a couple other band students. Yes, I was band geek. And we were there, and we were not supposed to be there. And just any open building like that's always creepy at night. But yes, so that's pretty much what I have in terms of like creepy story, is like I've been locked in and haven't been able to figure out how to get out, and probably sat in the middle of the floor and cried, but we're not going to talk about that. That's a different type of trauma. Anyone else? Creepy?
Well, creepy in a sense. There's, as we were saying, usually the most horrible things are the things that happen that aren't supernatural, that aren't scary in that way, but are just moments in life that happen. I actually had a teacher that was electrocuted in class.
What?
Yeah, but, you know, in the UK, they don't have air conditioning in the vast majority of buildings, which just doesn't get hot enough, or didn't get hot enough. And we had this antiquated fan. I mean, it looked like something that came, you know, out of an old movie. One of the black circular things that rattled and made horrible noises, and the plug on it was ancient as well, and our teacher was trying to get it going, to get some air moving, and apparently right as she went to plug it in, it arced, and she was electrocuted, and, you know, had to have the A&E come out, accidents and emergency, and take her out on a stretcher, and you know, had to get an emergency substitute in at the last minute, and she's fine. She actually came back the next week, I think it was, but she was literally electrocuted right there in front of the entire class and just dropped.
That's
so
awful.
That's pretty frightening right
terrifying.
there.
It was absolutely terrifying.
What grade were you in? I'm just curious.
Primary school, so I think I might have been about 8, maybe 9 at the time.
So nothing more horrifying than a bunch of 8-year-olds watching their teacher being electrocuted.
Yeah.
Oh,
we were stunned. No one moved for quite some time. We just sat there staring at her like, well, now what do we do? And I don't remember who, it wasn't me, but someone eventually jumped up to see to her, and another classmate caught a teacher walking through the hallway. But yeah, it's hard. But as I said, reality tends to be the scariest thing, in my opinion.
I would agree. So Grace H.
Hi, Dad.
Say, that's my dad. Y'all stay amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing, Grace.
Aww. So, Darrell, I have to ask you, I know you don't go to school every day dressed as a pirate, but we have actually seen photographs of you. You don't get to. I think that's I said that's the correct way to present that. You don't get to go to school every day dressed as a pirate. However, we have seen photos of you as a pirate in like the full. We've actually seen you in like skull makeup and kilts and the whole 9 yards. Do you feel that makes the classroom environment more impactful for students, that they connect more with you?
You know, as a teacher, you're always making an impression. Hopefully it's positive, and sometimes it's negative. But I always want the only thing I ever ask to be as a teacher is memorable. You know, I just want to remember my class, to be able, so that at any point later they can strike up a relationship. And I get kids. I still got kids 15 years later coming to me and saying, "Hey, you remember me? I remember you." And I don't remember any names. You know, I can barely remember my own phone number, but kids remember me. And it is impactful, because you walk in the door dressed as a pirate, with a sword. You know, for heaven's sake, you walk in the door with a sword, and that's going to make an impact on some kids. When I went to West Virginia to teach, I wanted to continue teaching Treasure Island, and so I asked my principal. My principal was a great lady. Her name was Ernestine, And she was about 110 years old, been teaching forever, knew everybody in this little tiny Appalachian community, knew every single soul. And I went in, I said, Miss Sutherland, can I dress as a pirate on the 19th, September 19th for International Talk Like a Pirate Day? And can I have the kids wear costumes too? And then we'll kick off Treasure Island that way. She's going to lean back and she goes, Darrell, I think that's a great idea. I think you ought to do it for the whole school. Let's do it for the whole school. Let's do it for the whole week. And so Pirate Week was born at Logan Middle School. And so I had to write curriculum for all the other subject areas, curriculum areas, wrote some math stuff and science stuff and a lot of social studies stuff. And so for all week, we did like Spirit Week. We did a different thing every week for the 5 years that I was there. And yeah, that made an impact. It was a weird impact because it's, there's no pirates in the Appalachians, but maybe a couple of them went up the river, but that was.
There's one pirate.
Yeah, there was one pirate, and that was him. I was him.
Mountain pirates.
Yeah, mountain pirate, river pirate. I don't know, but it was fun. It was just, it was just wacky enough that people went, oh, hey, you can actually be yourself and and live out loud a little bit. So it's definitely impactful. Anytime you can teach some kids something and dress up as the person you're teaching, that always makes an impact. Yeah.
Oh, certainly. Now, so this is from Miss Wiley, one of the most impactful teachers and coworker. Oh, how sweet!
Yeah,
how sweet!
It's Kara from West Virginia. She's a Logan Timberwolf.
So I'm going to ask you a bit of a loaded question. Now we've seen you in photographs where you have a pirate pistol propped on your shoulder. Has that ever gotten you in trouble or gotten any complaints, or do people just kind of go alongside with it? And are they cool with it? Or, how do they react to that?
So first of all, kids love it in class. I have a friend of mine used to do Civil War reenactments. And he quit doing that, and he gave me his jacket, which is a cool pirate jacket. And he gave me this pistol, no firing pin in it, but it has been used. It's a black muzzle pistol. And the kids love that because I hand it around. It's real heavy, and they go, wow. And plus in Appalachia, everybody has a gun, so they were all interested in that. So, but then, with the sword, that's a little different sometimes. I did get in trouble because I posted a picture on the school Facebook page. One of the guys, Andy, was driving the big, I call it a mop tractor. It's the big thing to ride around and it mops the floor. And so
mop tractor.
I'm picturing a Zamboni.
Yeah, it is. It's a janitor Zamboni is what it is. But I call it a mop tractor. But so I stopped him one day. He was in one of the lower halls, and I stopped him and I put my pistol up and I had somebody else take a picture of it, and I posted and I put a heading on it that said Captain Black Dog hijacks the mop tractor. Pirate
move. That's a pirate move.
Parents got so upset that I brought a gun to school, but their kids couldn't bring their guns to school. I have to say it's a little different when I bring a pistol that doesn't work to school than your child. But anyway, and then the cutlass is always fun. Because I teach it how it's used as a weapon, as a closed space man-to-man or hand-to-hand combat weapon on pirate ships, and I go into a lot of that. And I had a parent. It never fails. Whenever I would dress as a pirate, I always had a parent wanting to meet with me, a parent conference. So I would always walk into the parent conference, and I'd swagger in with my cutlass, and I'd move it aside to sit down. And what do you want to talk about? And this one parent in particular, I had a conference. His son needed to be talked to, and I came in with my cutlass, and he went to the principal immediately afterward. I worked for a great guy at that time, but and said, "I don't think that teacher needs to be carrying a cutlass around, a sword around school. It's a weapon. You can't carry weapons to school. I don't think it's right." Well, a year later, this child had graduated, moved on. I hadn't even seen this parent, but whenever that kid got in trouble again, the parent would call and complain to the principal and say, "And that teacher's still wearing that sword around school. He needs to stop doing that." So it's impactful. It does make an impression. So.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. Now I am totally realizing there's a video that we have of Professor Gould, and before I go any further and start asking questions, I want to show this video. So, is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine. Can I set it up a little?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
So this is by no means comprehensive, but it's just a short little minute-long thing just to give a sense of kind of the tone of the show along some little memorable moments. So roll the clip.
Like the heroine of tonight's film, a church organist without faith, who narrowly survives a dramatic car accident which begins the pick.
You killed me? But how? Why?
We did it because we thought it would be funny. That's all.
I just know if a gorilla appears in scene 1, it's gotta go off by scene 5.
Okay, you just mangled a quote by Chekhov.
That's funny. The gorilla's named Chekhov. And he's hankering for a mangling. So, what you're saying is, Santa lives inside each of us.
That's right.
Like a heartworm.
You just want to be wrong, don't you?
Funny, funny little people. They make me laugh. Ha!
Santa lives in all of us, like a heartworm.
I
may have shot wine out of my nose on that one. Oh my god,
that's great.
That was from our Christmas special where we presented the holiday classic Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
That's a great movie. Yeah, that's a great one. And I can't wait to use that line when I go back to school. You just want to be wrong, don't you? I can't wait.
So you have a new line now. By the way, arsenal. And by the way, Black Dog always has quotes from his favorite student. Is that a singular favorite student per year, or is that multiple? I'm assuming that's multiple.
It's the comments that come across they just write themselves, and I've collected them, but I put them under the heading "My favorite student." So
put their quote on the wall with their name. When you become famous in my classroom,
Exactly. Yeah.
I wish my teachers dressed as pirates. I have some amazing teachers, which I appreciate. That's Mr. Fish. Mr. Fish would have, well, he's a pirate himself. I mean, he was on our absence show. He's a pirate himself. So, Michael, I do have a question. How did the concept for Professor Ghoul even come to be? Because, I mean, that seems like it would be an odd pitch.
Sure. Well, it actually kind of happened in reverse. It wasn't a matter of we came up and went, oh, we'd really like to get horror movies and run them on the station. The general manager of WKNO at the time, Russ Abernathy, the late Russ Abernathy, got to pay respects. I'm sorry. He came to Bard Cole, my co-creator, who was just kind of moving back into the production department as a producer, and he said, "Hey, we might be able to get some inexpensive horror movies. Do you think you could come up with a concept for some kind of horror host thing?" And then Bard and I started talking. I was working in a different department at the time, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we should definitely do this. Like, I love horror movies. I know a bunch of the old ones. I'm happy to choose which ones we run and be involved." And Bard said, "Okay, but can you have a puppet cat sidekick?" I was like, "Yes, absolutely. Of course I can have a puppet vampire cat sidekick."
As you do.
And then Bard created Shotzi.
Speaking of Shotzi, what is he up to these days?
Well, at the beginning of quarantine, Shotzi actually hosted a daily and then weekly update. And those are all still available on the WKNO YouTube, I believe. But Shotzi covered a whole bunch of topics just to try to help people get through lockdown. And other than that, he's just around. He's just hanging back.
I think the sidekick thing is genius, though. I love like a horror host with all kinds of little like puppets and things. when you were growing up, if I don't know, I'm probably dating myself, but the the tales from the crypt and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was just neat having characters.
Oh, absolutely. And that was like the most fun part for us, because what we were doing, like aside from, especially the first season, we tried to show the best movies we could get our hands on. And then there weren't any of those for seasons 2, or weren't many of those for seasons 2 and 3. But the other thing that we tried to do kind of stealthily is we wanted to make this not just a horror host show, but a show that gave a platform to Memphis performers and creators. And so
okay.
we had a lot of people on from the Memphis music, comedy, and independent film scenes. And in fact, our first Halloween special that we ever did was, I believe, 4 short films by local, 4 horror short films by local Memphis horror filmmakers. And also, I'm going to do my plug now because this fits right in.
Please do.
One of the things I am absolutely proudest that we actually pulled off is there is a film from 1982 that was produced in Memphis independently, and is a movie called I Was a Zombie for the FBI.
Know it well.
And we, on essentially the 30th anniversary of the film, got almost the entire cast of the film and some of the crew back together for a special episode. So our classroom segments all have these people from the film in it playing characters, like in a storyline that kind of goes along with the movie. And here's the big announcement. On Saturday, October 30th on WKNO Channel 10 at 8 p.m., we will be showing I Was a Zombie for the FBI, the Professor episode.
Nice.
All right.
Oh, wow. So should we expect Professor Ghoul to make an appearance in association with it?
Yes, he will be appearing in all the segments that I've just described.
That's
perfect.
But no, at this point, there are not plans for the Professor to make anything new just at the moment.
Oh,
It's for a variety of reasons. If you want something really scary, look into licensing things for internet play.
Oh, yeah, we have done that.
So
we've done that ourselves.
On the 30th is can that be watched online? Is that?
I am not certain. I know it'll be on I know for certain it'll be on broadcast. Okay. It may be on live streaming, but I'm not real clear on that. The station does have live streaming at WKNO.org, or you can use the WKNO app. So there you go. There's my plugs.
It's like you work for them or something.
I've been working for them for 15 years.
There you go. So I have a question. How easy is it for you to slip back into the character of Professor Ghoul? Is that something that you can just pull up and do on command, or is it something that is just, was it you, or was it a character that you completely created, or?
Well, so the character, I could probably just fall back into the voice, but I feel like the character's kind of incomplete without Shotzi, because they really are two sides of the same coin. I know in your request for this, you were like, "Oh, get some clips of you being snarky," and unfortunately, those are all Shotzi clips.
I was thinking about.
In the classic style, Shotzi is the happy, sadistic clown, and Ghoul is kind of the sad, trod upon clown, and we all get to laugh at him. That's why I included the shot of a light hitting him in the head, because that's funny. That's very funny to me. I could probably fall into the voice easily enough. Going back and looking at our first season when I was trying to do my own makeup, that's really scary to me. I had some super talented makeup assistants from some very talented people who helped me make something far more presentable in our subsequent seasons. But yeah, on my own, it's real rough.
So did you have some influence in there when they were making you up? Be like, put a little more dark in there.
I just trusted them. I mean,
so they got to create it. That's fine.
Yeah, my friend Angie Champagne, we had been doing a movie night just every Sunday, getting together and watching horror movies, and we kept going throughout all of Ghoul. So like, I totally trusted her taste and her ability, and she's an artist. And she really kind of helped define the look of the makeup. And then my friend Ruby Mikalski made the professor's hair. So,
which, by the way, if you cannot recall what the professor looks like, he is right behind you.
It's true. That's one of the greatest fan gifts I ever got. The eyes actually follow you.
His eyes follow you?
Yeah, they're carved in. It's actually a blackboard. Cool. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Okay, so can you tell us who created that for you?
I'm gonna butcher the guy. I cannot right off the top of my head remember his actual name or his
okay, we're not gonna make it. Okay.
Sorry about that. No, it was we'll
leave it in the comments.
Please, someone correct me and shame me in the comments. John Michael McCarthy, you can do it. You know exactly who did this. He gave us a tip that the artist had made this and was selling it at his booth where he had horror related items at Cooper Young Fest one year. So we popped in, and then at the end, like, he just offered the piece to me, and I was like, yes, no one will ever give. I'll never get anything like this ever again. Absolutely. And then sadly, the artist died of lung cancer a couple months later.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful. But it's very fun. I will comment on this. It's very fun when all of a sudden you're out and about somewhere and you realize that somebody has made a drawing of one of your characters. I've had that happen a couple of times, and I've actually had people from other cities send me art pieces that were created based off of like a version of Wonder Woman that I was in or some other character that I was in. So it's absolutely an amazing experience. And I know it's something that you probably truly treasure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why it's in all my streams.
There you go.
My limited streams.
Holy shit. Oh, horror shit. How are you folks? Batty Pete. Who knows Batty Pete?
Batty Pete. Everybody knows Batty Pete. Hi, Batty Pete.
Ooh, that's terrifying.
Oh,
Speaking of horror,
no.
I was just assaulted by a pair of Karens leading a ghost tour in Nashville. Hey, Johnny, how are you? I'm so sorry, Johnny.
That is
we are so sorry. First grade in Virginia? North Virginia. Thank you. Second level, 40 school with 4 stack. I'm sorry, I probably need my glasses. Windows that open together. Painter had an extension ladder on the middle window frame. It slipped and fell on the sidewalk, broke spine, paralyzed for life. Oh gosh.
Okay, you win.
Yeah, that's
horrible.
So honestly, I did have the intent of actually talking about some creepy school related movies and literature and stuff like that. And I just want to throw it out. First of all, before we get into that aspect, how would you classify each of you in terms of where you were in school? Like, I was a band geek. I was a band nerd. There was no way of getting around that. So who were you in your high school life? Or school life?
In the principal's office.
You were the wild child. I know that.
All the time. I lived there.
I may have been too. I was a band geek, but I may have been in the principal's office a whole lot.
I had the unique pleasure of kind of being in all the groups. I had jock friends. I had ROTC friends. I had band friends. I had the math genius friends, and I had. In fact, I married the second person, the person who graduates number 2 in high school. What's that one called?
The salvatorian.
There you go. I married the salvatorian of class of 81, 38 years ago, and but I knew everybody. I knew all these, and I had friends everywhere. So I wasn't really just one kind of guy. In fact, I was voted most spirited and most wittiest in my high school yearbook. So
So you were a popular guy.
I guess I was. I didn't feel popular, but everybody knew me. Everybody knew me. I was on the stage a lot. I was an actor. I was the president of the thespian club for a couple of years.
There you go.
So everybody saw me, but I didn't know everybody. But a lot of people knew me. Yeah.
Don't forget
of the captain club.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to hear this story? This is a great story.
Okay.
Not related to horror house, but so I used to have frisbee a lot when I was a teenager, and so I had a meeting in one building, in a high school building, and I had my frisbee with me all the time. Student council meeting. Coming back across, there was a mezzanine back to the electronics shop where I was going, and a friend of mine, Scott, said, "Hey, throw me the frisbee." So I threw him the frisbee, and right about that moment, around the corner came the principal of the school and says, "What are you guys doing?" And I just said, "Well, we're just walking back to class." And he goes, "I want you guys to stand here, and I want you to throw this frisbee." So, you hear me? We said, "All right." We put our books down. We stood in the mezzanine, and we're throwing the frisbee. I went back to get one of them, and I caught it, and the assistant principal was looking at me like this. He was standing right behind me. I didn't know it. And he said, "What class is this?" And I said, "Well, this is Frank Farino's frisbee throwing class." And he just rolled his eyes and walked off. Well, we're obedient kids, we're throwing the frisbee. Now, our principal then came back around the corner about 10 minutes later, and he had this woman in a business suit from the Board of Education. He walked around the corner, and he had forgotten about us totally. And we walked around the corner. Here we are throwing the frisbee. Board of Education later checking on his school, and he swallowed real hard, and he goes, no. These kids think it's more important to throw frisbees than it is to go to class. Y'all go to class." So that's my great frisbee story. I have another one where I went across an English teacher's room and climbed out the window to get a frisbee. But so there's a lot of good frisbee stories. They're not horrible, but they're good frisbee stories.
I don't have a lot of good high school stories. Most of them included like board suspensions and at-home suspensions, and I think you and I might have been really good friends when we were growing up, Kat. I kind of get the
I tried not to get caught most of the time. It was just like a fraction of the times we were in the principal's office.
Surprisingly,
at the time, they didn't know what. No.
Surprisingly, I was the good girl. I was theatre Goth, but I was a straight A student, and in the chorus, and I did all the performing arts things, and was in all advanced placement classes and such. So I looked really scary, and people didn't talk to me a lot, but I was actually a good student. So I just looked terrifying. But then with my inability to be in sunlight for any length of time, that also kind of isolated me. Gentlemen, you don't know, I have a genetic disorder called porphyria, which makes it literally impossible for me to be in direct sunlight for more than a few moments at a time without it making me desperately ill, which is why we jokingly refer to me as our resident vampire. But
she really is.
As a result, you can imagine it isolated me in school, in all grades. It isolated me. I couldn't go out on the playground. I couldn't do a lot of the things that most of the other children did. So I just studied and made friends with all of the teachers and did all the theatre. It's in all the musical theatre and the chorus and the like. And as the good girl, I just looked creepy.
Michael, how about you?
I was a theater tech. I would have preferred to stay that way, but due to a shortage of male talent, I wound up getting recruited into the musicals because that's how that went. And then also because I was at Germantown, like I was a TV nerd. So, which has worked out. I don't know that any kids coming up today will be able to find a job in TV, but I've been working in it for about 25 years now, so it works out.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
But that would be kind of hard to, because I recall broadcasting being, I'm not sure what your age bracket is, and I'm not going to ask you, but I'm recall
49. There.
Okay, you and I are very close in age, and I recall broadcasting being a huge thing when I was growing up, and everybody wanted to be involved in the broadcasting program, and you were considered especially talented and cool if you were. So I don't know if you know that, but yeah, that was actually kind of how everybody on the outside perceived our broadcasting students, and so I thought that was kind of a. But I don't know if that same life is available. I mean, things change, and
Well, the industry's totally different than it was.
Oh yeah.
And one thing that happened too is, I remember growing up, like a go-to joke for a sitcom or a movie or something would be like, oh, if you have a character who doesn't know what they're doing with their life, oh, they're an English major. Because everyone got ushered into English majors. Well, by the 90s and the early part of the 2000s, that changed to communications majors.
Oh, okay.
So, like, there's a whole bunch of people who have degrees for communications, and there's way more of them than there were ever jobs in the communications industry. So
I believe that. I can believe that.
Yeah. I don't have a communications degree. I just have, like I said, about 25 years in the industry now.
I was a communications major for 1 semester.
Wow. Okay. Small world. 1 semester? Just one?
Yes, because it was focused on corporate communications, and that's not what I wanted to do at all. So then I got into theater, and I figured I didn't want to do anything but act. I didn't want to do back of the house. I didn't want to do makeup or props or sets or scenery or anything. So and they wouldn't let you do just acting. So then I just became an English major.
So I understand that Kat has a unique video for us, and I know that we're getting to the top of the hour, but I do not want to miss out on this video. So Kat, do you want to set this one up for us? Because it's supposed to be creepy school related incidents, and we've kind of been everywhere. Surprise.
Yeah, it's creepy school incident related. I'm not going to say where the place actually is, but it is a school, and it's based off of surveillance footage, and the people who went to investigate it come to conclude that there was no what you would call like foul play, where you think a rock's being thrown at a window by a person or anything like that, after everybody had conducted interviews and searched all the area and checked everything out. So it's just kind of going to go by 2 frames, and 1 frame is going to be showed probably 3 times in a row, just so you can kind of see the outer perimeter of it, and then it kind of gets closer and closer and closer to what you can see. And then the second frame is going to be another piece of footage from a different camera angle coming from the direction, and it's going to be at the exact same moment that one thing's happening simultaneously in the other frame, but it's from surveillance footage. It's not altered. It's poorly recorded, I will say, if it translates well, but it's just an experience. So it's kind of left up for interpretation, I guess.
So the very first piece of footage you're going to notice is that you're looking at the side of a school, and you're looking at a video surveillance footage clip. And I'm sorry that the quality is so terrible. It's recorded from video footage to camera to phone. But you'll notice that the time starts at 8:15, and then it's going to jump to 8:19:07. This is the same clip one more time, and it's just blurring out the person who's walking in the background while it's recording at 8:15. And then you're just going to notice closely that the time jumps from 8:15 to 8:19:06. This next piece of footage is just the same footage again, and it's just showing you that the video records only when there's movement in the frame. Now in this last piece of footage, you're going to see that there is a car hiding in the tree limb back there, and you're going to notice the window break out, and it breaks out at approximately 8:19:07. Now we're taking a completely different camera angle from the tree that was blocking the car that we're pointing to right there, and it's showing this black shadow that starts coming down at approximately the same time. We're going to play it one more time where you can see the time starts at 8:19:07 at the same time, and it comes right from that tree at a different angle, and it's moving through the breezeway if you look down at the bottom of the screen and kind of goes up the stairs. Now it's going to be played in slow motion in reverse, so you can kind of see its movement as to how it went through the breezeway. And then on the last clip, it's going to be played going forward the final time that it's played, and then you'll notice it's going to go forward and through the breezeway, and then it looks almost like an animal as it kind of squeezes around the poles, and then tries to go up the stairs.
What in the hell was that? Okay, wait a minute.
I know
what
that
was
kid.
that?
Does,
you know that kid?
I know that kid.
Like, I know him.
Yeah. So
Weird.
I will say I was partly kind of involved in the video footage in some degree of researching and everything of that. But like I said, it turned out there was no rock, there was no kid or anything that walked by and broke that windshield. I don't know if you could see it because it's so tiny in that video footage, but it just pops out right at one moment, and at the exact same time on the other footage, that's where that dark shadowy thing. And we thought we tried to debunk it with all different things, like it could have been a swarm of bees just at the same time, or dew on the lens that was dripping down, but it was going down and then back up when it was going back up the stairs. And so we really couldn't explain what exactly that was. And the person whose window broke out came in, and it came in kind of as a complaint, thinking a kid came and broke it. And but the last person you see walking at 8:15, because those cameras only record when there was movement back at that time. So, and then it turns right on at the same moment that tiny little piece of window that you can see breaks out of the car. So I don't know, maybe a demon got released out of the car, and I don't know. And the vehicle was unlocked, and it wasn't a really hot day yet. It was still probably like 80, low 80s at that time. So it wasn't heat, because sometimes heat will break out a window, but the way that the window was, it just broke out.
Okay, with that said, the whole concept of hauntings a lot of times are just bad energy that is brought and left and resides within a building, within a place, and sometimes even within an object. And I know that there are a lot of schools and a lot of colleges and a lot of high schools that have stories of paranormal activity. As I mentioned pre-show, I actually worked for the University of Memphis for many years, and the library at the University of Memphis is notoriously haunted. And if you've ever been in the library in specific areas, it's the tower and everything. It is very creepy. And whether or not it is truly haunted, I cannot say. But I mean, I have been in situations where I've been like, oh, what is that? I don't feel comfortable here. It's very weighted, very heavy. So, I mean, what you're looking at honestly could be some kind of creepy, anomaly, some energy that's left behind of some bad juju that may have happened in the past. I'm sorry, I just went off on a complete tangent, but
no, it's fine. That school was built somewhere in the 1920s, and it's close to Civil War
it's
type
haunted.
of activity. Well, and the thing is about it, it's I'm very skeptical of things. Like, there was never a second, haunting or residual haunting. It's not like it's something being played on a record back in time over and over again. This was just very specific to that day, to that person's car. And then just to see it on when you're looking through surveillance footage, you're like, okay, we got to figure out what the hell happened here. Like, let's find that kid that broke that window out, right? Like, it's pretty cut and dry that somebody just hated her or wanted to break the window out. But in this case, it's probably one of the only cases where you're like, when the surveillance footage has two weird things going on at the exact same moment, I don't know. It came back as very unexplained.
It's a little too coincidental when you have multiple things happening at the same time that seem very unrelated. So, Darrell, you've worked in several different schools. Have you ever worked at one that people have thought that you may have even thought was haunted?
I've never had that experience. I do remember going to the University of Memphis in the early 80s and the stacks like you're talking about. And I'm pretty sure there are still graduate student theses that are haunting those floors of the library. Still could be happening. No, I've never experienced that. I'm real skeptical about that kind of phenomenon. I'm just, there's always something that's going to be that can be explained that we just haven't figured out how to explain it yet. It's just ever since I learned that we don't see very many ghost sightings anymore like we used to in the 1800s and early 1900s, ever since I read that, the way we inter bodies is different now than it was then. And because of the way we can make caskets airtight, there's no gases from decomposing bodies rising up to reflect moonlight and street lights and things like that to see ghosts. I pretty much believe there's that I'm pretty skeptical about all that. So even if there was a haunted building I was in, I'd be willing to come up with an explanation for it.
I am honestly, even though I did, just say that I believe that there's a lot of residual energy, and I think that there is a lot of energy. I have never been in an environment where I think it is truly haunted. And most of the time I can either explain it away or I can create enough hysteria on my own to scare the crap out of everybody around me. And I may have done that on multiple occasions. Now, the WKNO building is actually a very long-standing building. Do you believe that there's any kind of ghosts or?
So that was actually our old building.
Oh, okay.
Which we moved out of 11 years ago. But that was it was part of Kennedy Hospital, which was built. So it was a World War II hospital on the street that was originally known as Shotwell until they put a Army hospital there and went, oh, let's change it to Get Well.
Yeah.
So there's some Memphis history for you. But yeah, no, I spent I used to work overnight shifts in that building. And there was definitely a little bit of creepiness to just that the old buildings, formerly Kennedy Hospital on South Campus. There was definitely some weird energy there, but I think the scariest thing I saw there was like a mouse stuck in a glue trap. That was pretty terrifying.
That can be terrifying.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, were you there a lot of times by yourself or were you there? Okay. So, and I know a lot of times your mind, like with me in the building, my mind can play tricks on me. It's like I'm looking out of the corner of my eye and I see something. I'm like, the devil's standing in the corner. I'm that person. I can create creepy imagery around me. So out of nothing.
Yeah. So my job at that point, I worked in what's called master control, where you basically make sure that the station is still going out over the airwaves and everything's going on. So you're watching all the satellite feeds coming in. You're watching all the transmissions going out. I will say one scary thing that I saw out of the corner of my eye once was some satellite feed was running a documentary on Jack Chick. Don't know if you know him.
As in Chick Tracks.
Exactly. Thank you, man. Yeah. So that was pretty scary with all the laughing devils tossing people into the lake of fire, as they tend to do in Chick Tracks.
Sorry, no,
that sounds like it would be unnerving.
Flashbacks from a goth, being a goth, and yes, first coming to the United States and to the South, to the Bible Belt. The number of times I had them thrown at me. I actually still have quite a collection of them in a box somewhere in a corner somewhere. So
you have a collection of what in a box?
Chick Tracks.
Chick Tracks.
They're these tiny little Chick Tracks, little comic books telling me I'm going to hell.
Yes.
Oh, the ones that people pass out at like Halloween. And...
Exactly. Yes, and their famous one.
People throw that at you?
I did multiple times.
I worked on Beale Street at a comedy club, and there was a guy who would carry a cross up and down Beale Street, and he would distribute Chick Tracks. And I'd go up. It was almost like a joy. Like after my shift, I'd go down Beale Street picking up the Chick Tracks. Okay, I've got that one. Ooh, okay. There's a really fun one, a Halloween-based one called "Halloween is the Devil's Birthday," which is kind of Jack Chick's. Yeah, it's kind of his riff on like. The teen slasher craze of the 1980s, because like a bunch of kids are trying to conjure the devil, and then all of a sudden a figure with a pumpkin head and a chainsaw shows up and starts indiscriminately killing some of them. And then when they're dead and everyone else has run off, he takes the pumpkin head off, and it's just the cartoon devil.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. I want to find these now. I want.
Again, there's pretty extensive archives online. But Jack Chick was a very hateful man who liked to use his faith as a cudgel and then draw little Maoist-inspired tracks about how you were probably doing something that would lead to you being damned.
Which was anything that you did would do that.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'll have to see if I can
Breathing
find
air.
my box full, because I literally have a box full. They've got things about listening to the wrong music, wearing all black, not going to church, going to the wrong church,
Dungeons and
dating
Dragons.
boys, the Dungeons and Dragons one is primo. It's fantastic. I know I have that
Did you
one
just say
somewhere.
the Beastie Boys? I just hear
Music,
The Beastie
there's
Boys.
every kind of music that you can listen to.
You
That's
are
not the
going
right
to hell
type
for
of
that.
music. They were comic books, little comics that were meant to teach like morality plays almost, but they're just extremely hateful, extremely ignorant, and fairly awful. If you look online, you can find archives of them, just chick tracts.
Okay,
And,
so I have to ask, because that seems to also coincide. At one point when I was in high school, we had the whole rock music is the devil, metal music is the devil. And I recall going to like a meeting, like an after hours gathering, and it was like all of the students and all of the parents. And I know it was targeted specifically at students who were into heavy metal music. And I remember myself sitting on the front row in my Motley Crue t-shirt going, yeah. But I'm just curious, does it tie into that whole, because I would imagine that would have coincided with the PMRC and all of that. But does that, did that all tie in together, or am I just like,
it's part of the same like cultural front, kind of the loose affiliation of the moral majority in the 80s, but Chick is on the fringe, and he starts independently, and like everyone knows Chick tracks, but he also had like comic series about how all the Catholics were going to hell. Like he was just really all in on. There we go.
we received a few of these pamphlets.
Nice. Cool. Well done. Well done.
Yeah. I mean, they're.
How did I never receive these?
Well, obviously, everyone thought you were a hopeless case. They had no chance. So but it was radical fundamentalism. All the, so.
I found them on my windshield once when I took some friends to go buy a comforter from Dillard's, I think.
Oh,
It's a sinful duvet.
The cabana boy upstairs just sent me a message and told me I was a poser. Oh my gosh.
You need to work harder, DL. You need to work harder.
I know. I guess I'm just not goth and witchy enough for the cabana boy upstairs. Let me get the damn broom. Okay, sorry. No. Oh God, this has been so much. I saw the one. Okay, wait. I saw one that watching Bewitched was a devil recruiting show. I love that show.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like a classic.
It is.
Yeah.
The whole point of it was that
associated with the occult or in any way,
including
absolutely.
Catholicism. Like Catholicism is the occult to.
I had a thing about saints. There was one of the chick tracks was about saints were actually demons or something, if I remember correctly.
Okay, one of them was saints were demons. What? Okay,
he's very
I'm sorry.
anti-Catholic.
Yeah,
how did I miss this?
Oh, it's delightful. It's utterly delightful. You should find them online. Definitely look for them. Definitely
I
look
don't want
for
them
them.
online.
They're
I
worth
want
it.
the real things.
I don't know if they're actually are they printed anymore now.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't
still
know.
distributed.
Are they?
You probably
Where
don't
would you
wanna
find
interact.
Who would distribute them? Who would?
Honestly, that guy might still be dragging the cross up and down Beale. So
Okay.
I didn't see him the last time we were there, and but then again, we were also drinking absinthe, so we didn't see much of anything.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd read a chick track on absinthe. I don't know if that's a good time.
I think if someone threw a chick track at you, would just immediately incinerate.
At who? At me? There's a possible. I feel like that's very possible. Oh my gosh.
They're kind of amazing because he really he at some point in the 60s became aware of Maoist cartoons, and he's decided these are a very effective way to spread thoughts. So I am going to spread my hate through these cheaply drawn little things.
Well, it's eye-catching for little kids to see a cartoon, and then you're like, Mommy, what does this say? What do you mean I'm going to hell because I'm listening to the wrong music? Or, oh my gosh. Or listening to music in general.
Not only are they still available, but you can buy a sampler online for less than $10.
Might have paid
includes copies of the 50 most popular Chick tracks for less than $10.
You're looking that up right now? Can you send me a link? Oh gosh, send me a link.
That's just too much money for that. I'm sorry.
Don't buy them. If you buy them, it's like you don't even really have them.
I know. It's not a special. It's not.
I can't get on a mailing list.
It sounds like
have y'all met DL? She's a heathen. Y'all need to send her these things for free so she can have them all.
Don't knock on your door.
I'm surprised they were not stapled to my door growing up.
I will also recommend someone made a brilliant piece of art probably about 15 years ago or so that took Chick tracks and removed all the dialogue and made them about Cthulhu. And it's called Who Will Be Eaten First. And so there are still places you can find Who Will Be Eaten First.
This will be mine.
We're gonna have to find that.
Phenomenal.
We'll find those. We need to find those.
So the Cabana Boy upstairs actually has a question. He asks if getting Chick tracks is anything like getting Mardi Gras beads.
No, you don't have to do anything to get a Chick track. You could just be standing there.
I never had to do anything to get Mardi Gras beads. People just threw them at me.
And yet you didn't get Chick tracks.
I just picked them up and I'm like, bye. Okay, sorry.
Mardi Gras, there's a hell of a market for Chick tracks right there.
Yeah,
I know. That's
a lot of debauchery going on down there.
Not to mention all the Catholicism.
There you go.
There you go. That too.
Well, I hate to say this. We're right at the top of, we're a little over the top of the hour. We're like 20 minutes over. And this has been a blast of a show. And I don't know that we really touched on the topic that much because I actually had like references to some of my favorite movies and we just didn't quite get there, but it's been an entertaining conversation and I learned about Chick tracks and I'm still trying to figure out why I never got one. I'm sure I have one. My mother is probably like collecting them in her purse and she's like, I'm not going to give those to my daughter. She's like, I don't want her to know she's a little heathen. I still think there's hope for her. But my mother was probably like hoarding them, so I didn't see them. So, but, oh my gosh, this has been so much fun. Thank you for joining us. I greatly appreciate it. Michael, thank you. Darrell, thank you. We had a blast.
Totally my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Tell the audience where they can find you again. So they can look up all your pirates and Professor Cool stuff.
My Instagram is Pirate Teacher with Pirate with a Y. And I also have another one called Pirate Teacher Memes. Which has got a host of just funny stuff that I do. And I'm Darrell Hugueley on Facebook. That's where I am.
Now, I meant to ask you, not to stop, is there a pirate community where you are, or are you just a solitary pirate?
I have not been able to find out yet. There's a lot of, there's a Scottish culture, a Scottish kilt group here. I just learned. So
I saw Magda smile.
I'm excited about that. There's a Ren Fair that starts every weekend through September and October in a little town about an hour from here.
Oh wow!
And they do a big pirate one on the weekend of the 19th, the September 19th weekend. So I just found out about that. So I'm learning about some communities up here. So if I can ever unpack my pirate gear, I have no idea where it is right now. Once I get it all unpacked, I will be the scourge of the Buckeye State.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And for those of you who don't know, September 19th is actually International Talk Like a Pirate Day. And that is where all of us pirate cosplayers, pirate reenactors. We celebrate our life of piracy very strongly that weekend, and we usually go out and do a lot of really cool stuff, and there's usually a lot of fun activities surrounding that, being a pirate, but there's also a lot of fun activities that involve drinking lots of rum and just having fun.
Yep. Indeed.
And Michael, where can we find you?
Well, I'm not particularly active on most of the social media. I'm kind of a Luddite. I'm sorry. It's just how it worked out. But I am part of the Bluff City Liars improv group. And we were doing shows, before that whole COVID-19 thing started. But we've done some online shows since. And if you look up Bluff City Liars, you can find out about our upcoming stuff. We've got a show we'll be taping on the back part of this month. Tentatively, it's titled Live Entertainment. It was going to be our return to the theater, and then Delta showed up in full force. So now we're going to make a video. But yeah, Bluff City Liars, you can find stuff there. If you search Professor Ghoul, you can find some of our old PSAs and stuff that are still up on YouTube. And if you have any questions or want to plead to somebody to make more of the shows, you can always contact WKNO.org.
Yeah, just say all of us.
I'm going to plead. Plead.
Well,
I second.
Would you do them if we pleaded?
It depends on the monetary value of your pleading. Because
okay.
I got it. You gotta show up with a wallet.
See public television every time you turn around, they're asking for money.
Yeah, it costs a lot. And now everyone wants things to stream online, and that's not free, it turns out.
We understand. No, we totally understand that here. We do. Well, I just want to jump in and say thank you again. And I also want to give a thank you, or send a thank you to Back at the Cereal Box and John Pica for always hosting us and allowing us to come out here and do this and be our weird little selves. We have so much fun. Also, Toy Robot Visual Arts and the Cabana Boy, who are upstairs running everything behind the scenes. And I mean, you don't see the comments that he sends. He's like, don't forget to ask this, don't forget to ask this, and make sure you get this video in. So he is constantly working, and nobody ever gets to see him. If you want, thank you.
Yes,
and
thank you.
If you want to tip us right now, if you want to support this show, there are a couple of ways that you can do that. You can go to Buy Me a Coffee, and you can leave a tip with the tip jar and designate it to Ice Cream Queens, or if you have a hostess that you like, say you want to leave Magda a tip, please just specify that you want to tip Magda, so she will continue doing Magda's musings, and we can continue to listen to that beautiful voice. Also, just sharing and commenting and just letting people know that we're here, because we are kind of a new show. And any ideas that you have for creepy episodes in the future, or if you know a guest or want to be a guest, we're constantly looking for entertaining people to join us. So with that said, that's us for tonight. Does anybody else have anything they want to throw out there?
Invite me back. I love it.
Thank you. Love you.
Yay, we will.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Yes,
thank you.
Both of you guys.
This was a blast. Thank you.
Nice
Thank
to meet you, Michael.
Yeah, good to meet you, Darrell.
And until next time, pleasant screams. Bye.